Now, another fight that just got announced, RC, should be fun also.
Yep.
But it should not only be fun for the matchup, it should be fun for all the things that will surround it. Now, this is one I thought we may see as coaches of The Ultimate Fighter to kind of make the interactions linger. But no, we get Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, UFC 272. How happy are you that this fight has been made finally? It's a non-title main event, something we don't see very often. And is it the right time for this fight? Or was this fight destined to happen a little bit ago when Masvidal had all that momentum, Covington had all that momentum, being that both of the guys are now coming off losses?
No, you know, and I think it would have always been a good fight for Jorge Masvidal. I don't necessarily know if it was always the right fight for Colby Covington, and we can go through it as much as we want. Right now, Colby Covington is the second best 170-pounder in the world. Like he truly is. And so when he was fighting and when he was in those conversations, it actually made no sense for him to drop down and fight a guy like Masvidal. That's in my opinion. Now, for Masvidal, it's a huge fight. You obviously have the backstory, you have the bad blood, and you would have been fighting a guy that was ranked as the #1 contender. And so I think even though we would have liked to see it at the heights of their careers, let's be honest, the dude that they've both lost to most recently is the best fighter in the world in his division. And maybe the best fighter pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
Yeah, you know, and so to me, right, that doesn't take away from this matchup. This matchup still is what it always was. Two extremely good fighters, two really, really exciting humans to watch build fights, and bad blood. That hasn't changed. The only thing we can say when these dudes fight that's going to be a negative, well, neither one of them could beat Kamaru Usman. Can't nobody else beat him, right? Don't nobody else beat him either. And so
nobody's beating him.
And so to me, this is actually kind of the perfect time for this fight because one of these men will now again propel themselves into the consciousness of the UFC fans as a contender. And then depending on how things shake out for Kamaru Usman in 2022, maybe get another shot if somebody in Chimaev is able to unseat Kamaru Usman.
That's what's going to happen for either of these guys to fight for a championship again, especially being that they've both lost to Kamaru Usman 2 times. But the last time someone headlined a pay-per-view without a championship on the line, the BMF title was created for Masvidal versus Diaz. Those guys fought. Masvidal was the champion. This fight, I don't think needs a championship. But does the BMF title, does that title add a little something to the pay-per-view when these two fight? Now, when you look at these two, right? When you look at these guys fight, obviously McGregor, Poirier, that trilogy, those last 2 fights weren't for championships and they main evented. But the last time anyone but McGregor main evented a pay-per-view, it was Masvidal versus Diaz, and the BMF title was on the line. I think stylistically for Colby Covington, this is a great fight.
Yes.
Because he feels like he can go and ground Jorge Masvidal out. A lot of people believe, people from within the sport of mixed martial arts think that it's going to look like Robbie Lawler versus Colby Covington, where Colby is just trying to overwhelm him with his pressure. But what you don't understand is the improvements that Jorge Masvidal has made in the wrestling. His ability to counter a lot of the things that Covington may have been able to do to him in years past. The guy is a much better fighter today, and he's a much better fighter because of his interactions with Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
Even though he lost those fights, he got better preparing for the champion. When they were training together before, he was just a guy that had won a lot, but had also lost a lot. Now he had a guy that has lived and tried to attain championships.
Yes.
And that changes you. And I think Jorge Masvidal today is better. Is that good enough to beat Colby Covington? I don't know. But I do believe that this is a fight that can headline a pay-per-view. And this is a fight that even without the BMF title will sell a lot of pay-per-views, and both of these guys will make a ton of money.
You know, I absolutely agree with that, and I'm just excited. I'm excited to watch it. These are two really good fighters, and I think sometimes that's lost in their banter, right? That's lost in the way that they deal.
That's the crazy thing, though, right, RC? Isn't that crazy, RC, that we are living in a world now today where two really good fighters just ain't enough? It's almost like we got to see the great fighters.
Right.
We're so spoiled.
Right.
We're so spoiled with seeing these great fighters that when you look at two great fighters in their own right, just maybe not the best in the world fight, people are like, well, is it pay-per-view worthy? Dude, there was a time where guys didn't have championships and were headlining pay-per-views.
Right.
They weren't half the fighters that Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington are today. But boy, we're spoiled, aren't we, RC?
Hey.
We are living in a spoiled world as MMA fans.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.